Hi, everybody. How you doing today on a Thursday in the Motor City? Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, Thursday, September 16th. Ryan Armani, Braylon Edwards. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Had a chance to work with some of my friends over at the Oakland Community Healthcare Network. Basically, what they do is they're in the recovery, so they provide a space for addicts to learn, to get better, to grow, to start their treatment, to start their rehab. Been working with health networks here in Michigan now for about the last 4 years, as well as mental health. So it was good to go over there and see everybody outside, excited. Football season started. That's typically when that community is the most happy, being outside, going to games, etc. Just way too much Michigan State love over there. Just way too much Michigan State love, man.
But hey, with you being a Michigan guy, I'm sure they're happy that you're a part of that, Braylon, and that is something that we cannot stress enough, and the work in that community as well, mental health space, because it's not talked about nearly enough as it should be, and any light on that topic is good momentum for just getting it out there.
Yeah, the biggest thing is normalcy and destigmatization. Trying to make it destigmatize, what it means to be an addict, what it means to go through that process, or mental health, kind of making that normal, and allowing people a chance to step out of the dark and the shadows and embarrassment and shame, things that don't go along with that, but that's what they've associated with it for a long time. So it's great to be a part of it, man. It's a great day. It's recovery month, so we'll be doing things like this until the month's up.
That's fantastic stuff. Tom Mazaway along with us as well. Maz, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, guys. Good to be here, and we got a jam-packed show.
Yeah, we do.
We are packed today,
Let's
man.
do it.
I mean, I'm telling you, we got Dan Dickerson coming up in about 30 minutes from now. Look, the Detroit Tigers won their 70th game yesterday, and I think we should recognize that. I mean, this is a team that everybody, all of the experts, expected them to finish in dead last.
55 would have been what the thought process
lose
was.
100-plus games, and they have not done that. And in fact, they've already exceeded expectations. How many wins could they finish out with, and what pieces, more importantly, can they move forward with? What have they learned about their guys this season that will make them contenders, maybe not next year, but the year after, and certainly years to come?
Miggy, 25 hits away, 16 games to go. I've seen crazier things. But more than likely, I guess it would come next year, 3,000 hits.
You just never know. I can't wait to talk to Dan Dickerson about it in the 3 o'clock hour. I'm excited to talk to him. Just what he said. Miggy's now 25 hits away, Maz. He's already got the 500th home run. You see, they're at 70. They have 16 games left. Could they get to 80 potentially? And you just see what A.J. Hinch has been able to do with this roster and kind of making moves and tweaks throughout the whole season. It's an exciting team to watch, and it's exciting a future to kind of pay attention to and jump on now, because it's going to be a good ride and a good journey.
And they got some young guys coming too, so we'll get to Dan Dickerson coming up around 2:35 or so. Also today, in hour number 2, at the top of the hour, we will connect with Wayne Larrivee. Tried to track him down yesterday. We will get with him today at 3 o'clock. Wayne Larrivee, longtime voice of the Green Bay Packers, 22 years for that job. And look, the Green Bay Packers, Braylon, I think there are some questions there. Was last week the rule or the exception for the 2021 version of the Green Bay Packers? I don't think that has been answered yet.
That's not far-fetched. We're going to talk about the Lions, and we'll talk about their game coming up against the Packers at Lambeau. This is a chance for the Lions to jump on it. I like the way the Lions ended the game, and I loved, as a Lions fan, I love the way the Packers played that whole game. They just looked out of sorts. It just didn't look like LaFleur's and Aaron were on the same page. And, there's much to that. They haven't been around each other. There was a lot of jab throwing on both sides this whole offseason. So you've seen some of that. It took you sweet time. Talk about Aaron Rodgers there. It took a sweet time coming back to the team, and the team had to deal with, is he coming, is he not coming? Players trying to find what side of the loyalty are they going to be on. Are they going to be on Aaron's side, the team's side, try to split the fence. It's easy to say this is Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers will be okay. They'll be fine. They do it. Right. It's easy to say that, but I don't know. This looked different. This looked a lot different, and I like it in favor of Detroit's chances this coming one day.
So we'll get into that with Wayne Larrivee coming up at the top of hour number 2. But, Braylon, your former teammate making some news today, Hank Fraley.
Good old Hank.
You played with him in Cleveland?
I did. I played with him in Cleveland. He came over from Philly. He was on Philly. He was there for the Super Bowl run with D. McNabb and the infamous T.O. situation. He was there. Then he came over to Cleveland kind of as a leader, if you will. That was his role and why he was brought in. So, yeah.
So, Lions offensive line coach Hank Fraley had some interesting things to say this morning about the Lions offensive line situation. So this is a tweet from Corey Woods on Twitter. Corey says, Detroit Lions offensive line coach Hank Fraley put to bed any talk of a Taylor Decker-Penei Sewell swap at left tackle once Decker returns. Says Sewell is the right tackle, Decker is the left tackle, but with Decker out, Sewell is the man. Tom Mazaway, interesting that you'd get that today.
Especially since the other day when we heard on Monday on the press conference with our own head coach Dan Campbell, someone asked him about that, and he's like, that's just too far away to even think about it right now. But this was what he sounded like today, Hank Fraley. Check it out.
I'll just be honest, there's been no discussion on that stuff. And there's not, when we cross that road, or that bridge, but right now, Taylor, in my mind, is our left tackle, and Penei's our right tackle, and Taylor's not playing, Penei's the left tackle, and Matt Nelson's the right tackle, so that's how we're doing things, and, he's done a nice job,
Yeah, so I don't know if you were able to make that out or not, but basically that was almost like me saying wide receiver yesterday.
I think I heard you a little better than I heard Hank.
But nonetheless, Hank Fraley really putting the kibosh on that, which is a direct. Are we parsing Dan Campbell's words or not? I mean, here's what Dan Campbell had to say about the swap, Sewell and Decker, just yesterday.
And as when Decker returns, Dan Campbell was surprisingly non-committal.
We're so far away from that right now. We're just, how do we put the best lineup out there for Green Bay right now? And, we'll worry about that when Decker comes back. But right now, I know that we feel good with Sewell being at left. We asked him to move over there, and he accepted the challenge, did well, and we're going to need another good performance out of him because these guys, they've got some good players over there as well, good rushers.
So that video courtesy of Brad Galley at Channel 7 in Detroit. And look, we like to parse words. Dan Campbell was very non-committal about that. Hank Fraley basically said, and I don't know if he has the authority to make these kind of decisions, but to say that Penei Sewell is our right tackle and Taylor Decker is our left tackle, I think is a bad move. For the first time, I will criticize this Lions coaching staff. I think that's a bad thing to say. I think that would be a bad move.
Well, Fraley, not the whole staff.
Fraley. But, it's a representation of Dan Campbell and the Lions organization and being on the same page. I think for the first time this coaching staff has done something that is a bad move and to me.
Yeah, 1,000%. You want to be on the same page. You want to go in there as a unified front. Today's Thursday. This is a conversation that's been had, Maz. It's been had so far this week. Everyone's talked about how well he played on the left side versus how he played in the preseason on the right side. So this conversation has been going on all week. I don't like the move of Hank Fraley not being on the same page as Coach Campbell and saying that there's no way that he's going to move to left tackle full-time when Decker comes back. We don't know when Decker's coming back. We don't know how he's going to come back. I think for Fraley, it's one of those moves where you just try to dispel myths. That way people aren't thinking about too much, be it Penei Sewell, be it the other offensive line, be it Taylor Decker at home. That could be something that he's hearing, and he's at home if he's not hearing a clarification on it. Now he's thinking one thing, and it's not exactly what the Lions told me when I signed that big deal. So I think Hank was maybe more so trying to do that, and Coach Fraley, by Hank, but I don't like it. I think you need to be on the same page. You need to be that unified front. And this might be, like you said, this might be the first slip-up they've had, but it was just that. It was a slip-up, no cause for concern.
So they should go after Campbell now and say, hey, Fraley said X. What do you say? And I'm sure he'd say, well, I thought maybe he'd go back on his words. I don't know. I think he'd probably reiterate what he said on Monday, saying it's too early. Don't ask me that right now. Let's just win against Green Bay.
And again, that's what he should say, and I think that's really what everybody has to say. And again, I don't want to freak out and say that, Hank Fraley is going to make this unilateral decision and just make Taylor Decker the left tackle and Penei Sewell the right tackle. But I think the reason why this is such a big topic of conversation in Detroit for fans, for people like you and me, is because this is a symbolic move, I think, of an organization in what they can do. And I mean that in all sincerity, because this is one game that Penei Sewell played at left tackle. Maybe he gets blown up this week against Green Bay. We don't know, and we don't know what we're talking about. But I do think it's worth looking at over the next 2 weeks, because we know that Sewell will be the left tackle for at least the next 2 weeks until Decker is ready to come, or at least is eligible to come off of IR.
Yeah. I mean,
so I mean, can we just wait and see how that goes first?
I think if this was another position, if this was another player that maybe was a third-round draft pick, or maybe was a guy that we picked up and he worked his way into that position and he moved over and he had a pretty good game. But you're talking about a guy that you really wanted. You're talking about a guy that as soon as he was drafted, I mean, am I wrong? They were talking about Hall of Fame. He had the potential to have one of those type of careers. And then you see him on the right side. You move him. You see him in action. And this is a guy you drive highly, you think highly of. And he looked bad. He looked awful. He looked like he really couldn't get it going. He just looked out of sorts. And we knew he would figure it out at some point, but it didn't look like the Hall of Fame guy that we thought we were going to get. You move him over to left tackle, which, by the way, is where he played his whole life and his whole career. And you see, oh, that's what they meant when they said this guy could play. Penei Sewell could be a Hall of Famer. He's going against Nick Bosa. That's not easy. Week 1 Nick Bosa, that's not easy, especially after you moved. So I don't think what we're doing, or what the Lions fans are doing, with the faithful or the journalists, in asking this question, phrasing this question after 1 week, I don't think we're doing too much, because I think this is what we wanted to see in a first-round draft pick, especially a lottery pick. So I don't know, man.
Braylon, not only is it a first-round draft pick, this is a very high first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And what you saw was potentially, organization changing. You may have one of those organizational talents on the left side. I got to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to make a comparison for you that really proves to me that you've got to keep this open. You've got to at least keep this option open and don't close any doors as you try to get good quickly.
Don't try to make yourself right.
Yes.
Don't try to make yourself right. I agree with you 100%. Right. Don't try to make yourself right, like, oh, we have to make that move work so that we can prove that we were right. Hey, sometimes you're wrong. Move forward.
That's exactly right. Armani and Edwards, this is Woodward Sports Network.
The bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
So I think we're all here in Detroit fascinated by this Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker situation. Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, said today that Taylor Decker is the left tackle and Penei Sewell is the right tackle when Decker comes back. I think that's the wrong thing to say, and I'll tell you why, Braylon.
Please do.
A perfect example is this. You only have to go back a couple of years in your own organization to look and see. Back in 2018, the Detroit Lions drafted Frank Ragnow, who was a center in college, one of the best centers in all of college football, the best center in all of college football. When they drafted him, they had a center in Graham Glasgow. Frank Ragnow's rookie season with the Detroit Lions, they moved him, took him away from his natural position and made him a right guard.
Yep.
He started all 16 games his rookie season at right guard, and he played fine. He was a fine right guard. In year 2, what had happened was they took Glasgow and made him the right tackle, or the right guard, and moved Ragnow back to his normal position. And all he happened to do within 2 years was to make a Pro Bowl team and to be a second-team All-Pro at that position.
It's not bad.
So you have that in your own organization.
You've seen it.
You have seen it. And I think Sewell, while he could be a fine right tackle, he could be an elite
in 3
all-pro.
years, 4 years, how long, though?
Exactly. He could be an elite all-pro left tackle. And if you could have and Decker is fine. He's a very serviceable NFL left tackle. Very serviceable.
Lineman. Let's just call him a lineman.
Lineman. Very serviceable. But he's been in the league for 6 years. This is his 6th year. And how many Pro Bowls has he made?
None.
Zotsky.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not trying to knock Taylor Decker down. He's fine. Very good. But if you have an opportunity to have an organizational all-pro type left tackle talent in Penei Sewell, why would you stunt that growth?
Yeah, and
why would you stunt that growth?
I think it goes back to Hank Fraley not being on the same page. I think making an instinction call on his own, what he thought the soundbite should be or what he think the process is. And you're not the head coach. You're not the GM. Like, this isn't your call to make. He should have kept it vanilla, much as they've been doing around the Lions, the Lions organization this offseason and preseason, the beginning of the year. You should have kept it like, hey, right now, he's played well at the left tackle. Decker's not here, so we're just going to focus on Penei being that left tackle. He's doing well for us. He performed well against the 49ers. Let's keep that going. Let's keep our line play up. We ran the ball really well. I'm not ran the ball well. We had some good runs, but we blocked well in the passing game when we needed it. Let's focus on that. Like, that should be the answer. Then you don't even have to think about that. We're not having this conversation because, to your point, Taylor Decker hasn't had a Joe Thomas type career.
Right.
When Joe came out on fire every year as a Pro Bowl, he didn't come out like Orlando Pace. He didn't come out like Reuben Brown. So, to me, it's an option. Like, to me, there's some wiggle room there. To me, if he hasn't done that at this level, just move him over. Why can't we move him over? What's the big deal?
Couldn't agree more.
So, it was a mistake. It was a flub up. Let's call it Hank flubbed up. But we'll see what the Lions organization, where they move forward, how they handle this situation after Monday Night Football.
I went back and watched the Lion game last night, the second half. And I watched Jeff Okudah on the plays he got in. He made some pretty good plays towards the end of the end of the fourth quarter until he got hurt. They even mentioned it on the air. I forgot who, but Mark Sanchez even mentioned it. Hey, Okudah, look how he came back after Aubrey Pleasant yelled at him, hugged him, and now look at him, because he did mention that. So I don't think the national guys missed that. They got it. Mark Sanchez caught all of it. What I wanted to bring Okudah up for is we saw what he did last year as the number 3 pick in the draft, and he wasn't very good. We all said it. He just was not Deion Sanders. We knew that. You put this kid in, Penei Sewell, his first game, after never practicing it, at left tackle the entire summer, and he looked like he didn't miss a beat. So you already know that guy, we picked him right. Okudah, we might have jumped on him.
And two, Maz and Braylon, one of the things with this organization is we want to see something different from these guys, this group, this regime, that we have not seen from other Lions regimes. And that is simply, who cares about your feelings? Who cares how much money you make? We are going to play the best players at the positions that they're comfortable with, or whatever. We're going to play the best player at every position. That's what we're going to do. We don't care where you were drafted. We don't care what your contract says. We don't care how many years you've been with the organization. We do not care what you think. This regime is playing the best players at those positions. And I think this is one of those really early indications of what kind of regime this is going to be. And that being said, now Penei Sewell, after dominating Nick Bosa, and I don't use that word lightly, after dominating Nick Bosa, I don't think he's going to get blown up in the next 2 games. He's probably going to, now having played on the left side, be a road grader. You know what I mean? Be an absolute wall there. Be that blindside blocker that Jared Goff needs and that we here in Detroit expect him to be. So I only think this is going to be an even bigger hot button topic for the Detroit Lions moving forward.
Based off how Dan Campbell talks, and he talked about it when he was making cuts during preseason, the guys he brought in for training camp, the guys that he brought in after waiver wires were passed, he always talks about our guys having our guys, the type of guys that are going to play Lions football, the type of football we want to see. And it echoes what you're saying. That's why I said Hank Fraley, Coach Fraley made a mistake, because Lions football as it relates right now, step up, who's making plays? Who's ready? Who's dialed in? Like, who can I trust? Who can I trust in? I think a big thing for a team like this that's kind of really starting over, they're revamping with the exception of Jared Goff and a couple other players. This team and this system and this organization is starting over. When you start over in anything, you want to know, who can you trust? Like, who can I trust? Who do I know is going to know the playbook? Who do I know that's going to be there? They're not going to make mistakes. They're going to be the type of player we want to. I can count on them. Being able to be counted on and trusted, that's what Penei Sewell is showing you at the left tackle position. So if that's the message, that at least that's what I took out of Dan Campbell from January to now, that's the message that I've gotten. If that message holds true, then Penei Sewell's your left tackle moving forward.
Yeah, it's such an important decision just to get an indication of what this regime is going to be like. Guys, I want to get into some Calvin Johnson. He made news over the last 24 hours as well, and this is a fight between him and the organization. He will be honored at Ford Field September 26th before Lions or during the Lions and Ravens game at Ford Field, but he wants...
What sideline will he be on?
His money, man. He wants that $1.6 million, and he doesn't want to do anything for it. There was the report in the Free Press.
He already worked for it.
That's what he says.
He's earned it, if not more. He's earned it already.
Do you have that, Alex? Just go ahead and throw it up for me. Here it is. Calvin Johnson, this is a Pro Football Talk on Twitter. Calvin Johnson explains that in order to mend fences, the Lions need to pay him $1.6 million without having him do any work for it. Now, there was the report in the Free that the Lions did offer him $500,000 a year to make something like 28 hours worth of appearances over 3 years at some of their events and such. I may have gotten some of those details off a little bit,
but you're in the ballpark. You're far.
I'm in the ballpark, yeah. He said no. He was insulted by that because, as he said, Braylon, he has already worked for that money.
He's got a gold jacket, okay, and 10 years of play. He's got a gold jacket. He did everything he could for this organization, this franchise. He put his body, his heart, his soul, blood. I mean, we saw Calvin go up and down and get left out to dry because he's 6'5". It's like, oh, he's 6'5", he can come down with that. People actually took for granted like how hard he was falling on his feet, on his legs, on his body, and retiring 10 years. A lot of that was injury. It wasn't just, the Detroit Lions not putting the right people in place, not running the linemen, never trying to get him a running game, not trying to get him a rushing game. He did everything that he could for this franchise and was underpaid to a certain extent. We can admit on that. But 1.6, you asked this man to give back? Like, come on. After everything he did, nah.
Well, look what they did to Barry. Barry, same
$10 million.
thing. It's this franchise. Look what Jim Irsay did with the Colts. He paid Andrew Luck every single penny when Andrew Luck had to retire before their damn season started. They had nobody. They had Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. He paid him every single penny. It's just the way you look.
Yeah.
Who wants to come play for a place that hasn't won in 63 years, 64 years, and treat your two superstar athletes with yellow jackets on, gold jackets on, the way they did?
It's almost like, have you ever paid attention to when people are losing money, they act different? Like when people have a ton of money, you can just watch people at the casino. When things are going good at the casino, and we all have.
Your friend.
And there's a ton of chips and everything is good and people are nice and they're tipping people and they're giving people money. Here, you go play and you buy this drink and this is for you and cheers and all this. And then that money starts to dwindle. And it's like, no. Give me some of that back. No, you can't have that drink. No, get out of here. Stop asking me for drinks. The Lions are the team with all of this, but acting like it's down here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're acting like they don't have that to throw away to Calvin Johnson, somebody that you want to be an ambassador to your program. How many free agents are going to come here because you have a good relationship with Calvin Johnson? How many times will you be able to get him to go out to outings to speak and do things of that nature that dial your franchise in so people can get a bad taste out of the franchises and get that bad taste out of the mouth that the franchise doesn't care about their players? Man, I'm telling you, that 1.6 is not anything to have him back in good graces so you can move forward with the potential draft picks and free agents.
I've completely changed my opinion about this, and there is only one person in the world that could fix this. I'll have that for you next. Plus, we'll get into big game tonight, Giants and football team. We'll do that all next. Armani and Edwards.
Is that one team or two? I'm confused.
Football team.
Bottom line. We're coming right back.
Welcome to the Call Sam Chopper Shop, where you can win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time.
Watch as the Bad Pig Custom Team turns this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
And when it's finished, we'll be donating the bike to Volunteers of America Michigan to raffle off in support of our vets.
A great cause to give back to those who've given so much.
Watch for Call Sam Chopper Shop episodes on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Hey guys, it's Maz for our good friends and our studio sponsors, MyBookie and MyBookie.ag. You can even go to MyBookie.com. It all goes to the same place. Don't forget, use that promo code Woodward. Get that first deposit matched all the way up to $1,000. Dollar for dollar. It goes in your pocket. Do what you want with it. Bet it or take it out and put it back in your account. Any way you want to do it, but if you want to bet sports, this is the place to do it, MyBookie.ag. You can bet tonight's game. Thursday night football, the Washington football team and the New York football Giants. 42 is the over-under, and Washington favored by 3.5. Who you like? Take the G-Men. No? Washington's pretty good, too. It doesn't matter because you can do whatever you want. You can bet the over on Saquon Barkley tonight. How many yards is he going to get? All of that stuff. Taylor Heineke as well. He's going to be the quarterback now for the Washington football team. Do it all at MyBookie.ag. Winning season. Don't forget, bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a gambling problem? Call the National Problem Gambling Helpline. 800-522-4700.
You better not bet on those Giants. If the fastest way to lose your money is betting on the New York Giants.
That team,
you better find one of those other bets.
Football team.
They stink.
Yeah.
Guys, I mentioned I've completely changed my opinion about the Calvin Johnson saga. And the bottom line is this. The Detroit Lions absolutely have to pay him $1.6 million for absolutely nothing. If that's what he wants, that's what you have to do. You are the Detroit Lions. He is Calvin Johnson. You lose. And that's that. I hate to be so blunt because I love the Lions, if you can't see, but they are in the wrong here. And there is one person on the face of the earth that can change this, and only one, and that is Sheila Ford Hamp.
Yes,
that is it. Only her. She was not a principal owner of this franchise when the Calvin Johnson thing went down. It is basically an entire new regime with general manager, aside from one person who's Rod Wood. And I like Rod Wood.
That's the straw that stirs the drink.
I like Rod Wood. I really do. He's been very good to me personally. When I had a radio show in a previous life, he came in and sat there.
There you go. Cover the bases, baby.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. He was very good to me. But he is at the center of contention with Calvin Johnson. And it is incumbent upon Sheila Ford Hamp to go in there and say, look, I own this team, and we are paying him, and we are going to pay him however he would like to be paid out, whether it's $160,000 for the next 10 years or whatever, or $500,000 a year for 3 years, or however he would like to do this. And they should roll out the red carpet for him and bring him back into the fold. You cannot continue on like this.
I think it's too late.
But it's not too late if she does that.
It's embarrassing still. Go ahead, Braylon.
No, yeah, I mean, it's not too late because, like you said, she wasn't a part of it. She wasn't at the epicenter of it all when it all went down. So she's kind of an outside, but she's in control. Now she definitely can make amends. I promise you, Calvin. I know him personally. We know him here at Woodward Sports. We know him personally. He's a family. He's a man of reason. Like, he's a man of reason. Like, I know him well. He's a man of reason. If she was to present it a certain way, she would to present it anyway, in a respectful way. He would go, have conversations. They would sit down and chill. It just doesn't look good for your star player. Like, in the last, I don't know, 30 years, who are your star players? They've been Barry and Calvin. Like, and there have been some other good.
And Lomas, who went on to win a Super Bowl with Herman Moore.
I love those players, but who are your two gold jackets?
Yeah, your two gold jackets.
Who are the guys you build franchises around? It was Calvin and Barry. Like, that has to be good. When you go to certain franchises, when you go to Denver and you look at the Ring of Honor and the way they take care of their former players, Terrell Davis played 6 years, like 7-8 years. Like, they take care of him well. Dallas that's cheating. It's the mecca of taking care of former players, whether they were good or bad. So I just think you have to look around the league, look around other organizations, and kind of see how they have success with their fans, how they keep them interacted. They keep their players around. They keep their players happy. Especially, we're not asking you to take care of a player that was just pretty good, that had some stuff going on. We're asking you to take care of Megatron. Come on now.
I do find it embarrassing a little bit, at least now, that Calvin Johnson has a Hall of Fame speech and does not mention the organization one time. I do find that remotely somewhat embarrassing, and it's got to be a non-story anymore. You have got to stop having this in the news. This back and forth is no good for anybody. It's not good for Calvin. It's certainly not good for the Detroit Lions. Just pay him his money. He earned it. And even if you believe strongly as an organization that he didn't earn it, what you get in Darren McCarty said this earlier on Big D Energy. The guys were a great listen today, and they are every day. But he said, that $1.6 million is a drop in the bucket for all the bad publicity this franchise is getting from not paying it. Just pay it. And Sheila Ford Hamp is the one person I think that can solve this problem.
I'm sure there's got to be a way that they have to circumvent the salary cap and all of that. But you already painted yourself into this thing. I know. Please.
We're not even paying anybody.
Wake up, guys. You're embarrassing. You're the most embarrassing franchise in this town. 64 years of ineptitude. Please.
Calvin Johnson will clearly work with the Detroit Lions because I don't think he accepts that invitation to be honored on September 28th against the Ravens if he wasn't willing to come back in the fold. He is willing.
I'm gonna tell you why I know for a reason that he's definitely willing. And I'm telling you how I've seen it is when you are a part of something for so long, it becomes who you are. It becomes your DNA. Calvin's a guy from Atlanta. He's from Georgia. Where does he stay at? Where does he reside at?
Here.
Where is he and his wife, Brittany? Where do they live at? Their kids, where do they live at? Where do you see him at? All around the way. Here. He still see billboards of himself in Lions jersey. People still walk around with Calvin Johnson jersey. Like, when that friction happens, and then it disappears he can't go to games, or he doesn't want to go to games because he feels uncomfortable. He feels like they handle it a certain way, and then they're too prideful to reach out. So now they're avoiding him as well. That turns into 2 years. It turns into 8 years. It turns into 10. It turns into 15. This is home that hurts. To not have that small piece of your heart or that big piece of your heart, to not be able to be there, to not go to Lions games, to be a part of that, to get the Ring of Honor, to get the jacket on the field, to feel comfortable in your own city, in your own skin, like it weighs heavy on you. Like, I remember when the friction happened with me in Michigan, just a little bit of friction there. Like, not going to Michigan games, it hurt. It was like, oh man, I can't go to Michigan games, or I don't want to go to Michigan games. What's the friction? What is it like? You always want to feel at home. So he's definitely willing, because this is home. This is all he's ever known in the NFL is home. He came here as a young man, and he left as a grown man married with kids. Like, he wants to be home.
That's a fantastic comparison, Braylon. That's absolutely great analysis there. We're going to take a break.
No place like home.
There is no place like home. We're going to take a 30-second break. When we come back, we've got the voice of the Detroit Tigers, Dan Dickerson. Man, these guys are just continuing to play really good baseball. Picked up their 70th win of the year yesterday. Got to talk about it. We'll do that with Double D. We'll do that next. Ermani and Edwards.
On the bottom line, Woodward Sports.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
It is our absolute pleasure that Dan Dickerson gives us some time here on Woodward Sports. Ermani and Edwards. We will bring him in right now. Just one of our favorite guys, one of our favorite people, and I know a big sports fan too. Dan, I'm not sure if you were. I think you were on the line for the last couple of minutes. Just we're talking about Calvin Johnson as a sports fan. Do you have any thoughts on why this is still in the news? Like as a Lions fan, Dan.
I was just talking with Dan Petrie's here. Say hi to Dan.
Peaches!
What's up, fellas?
Peaches!
I haven't talked to you in a while, Ryan.
I know. I'm going to call you tonight.
I am a huge fan. I'm a huge Lions fan, and I'm like this close to turning in my fan card, but I will never. But it's just very frustrating. But to see this, I mean, come on. It's Calvin Johnson. And like you said, the amount of money that we're talking about here just pales into comparison with the bad publicity you're getting by fighting over this. Come on. I get chills when I think of how good Calvin Johnson was and what he meant to this organization. All the big moments that he provided. And let's face it, many years when there just haven't been many things to cheer about. So, yeah, it's very frustrating. I do love the Lions. I can't wait till they're actually good for a sustained period of time and not every once in a while. So, I don't know. It seems like that should have been very avoidable.
No doubt. Absolutely. Joined by Dan Dickerson, the voice of the Tigers in Tampa Bay as they get set for 4 with the best team in baseball. I mean, the Rays, my goodness, what they're doing. But this Tigers team, Dan, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today is because I do think picking up that 70th win was so significant. This was a team, by all accounts, all the experts finished to picked last in the American League Central. Nothing really expected by them. 100+ losses most likely. Just a down year. A.J. Hinch, good manager, but he's got no talent. They have totally erased every stigma about this season going into this season. 30-25 since the break. Just playing damn good baseball, Dan, and a lot to be excited about.
There is a lot to be excited about. What are they, 9 games over since they started 9-24? So, I mean, those are all little markers along the way. I went back today just to see what was the general consensus for wins this year for the Tigers, and I think it was 67 or 68, depending on which prediction model you looked at. So to get to 70 is a big number. And what I always love is, I mean, A.J. Hinch always says when he's asked about the improving team and how well they play against good teams, hey, this is good. These are all little markers along the way. We'd love to get to 500, but he's always talking about this isn't where we want to be. We don't want to be just the story about the little engine that could. You know, we want to be the team that everybody else is talking about chasing and trying to track down in the years ahead. So he never loses sight of that. And I think that's big because this mindset, you've heard about it a lot, but I can't tell you, watching it day to day, how different it is. When you come to the ballpark every day thinking you can win that day, are you better than, say, the Rays or the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Dodgers over the course of a season? AJ always said at the beginning, I don't know, but can we beat them today? Absolutely. Because we're going to out-prepare, outwork, and put these things into use on the field. You know, no one's going to be able to match that, or at least no one's going to be better at that. And the players are completely bought in, and they feel they can beat anybody on any day. That's a big change. And to see last Sunday was a perfect example of it. got run out of the ballpark on Saturday. Rays put them on their heels right from the get-go. And the Tigers bounced back, won on Sunday in a walk-off, and then beat the Brewers in 2 straight. That was a perfect example of how yesterday, win or loss, is not going to help you today. And the Tigers have done that all year, but it's getting better and better. They are 5-1-1 in their last 7 series against teams that are either going to be in the postseason or are right now battling for a postseason spot in both the American and National Leagues. It's really fun to watch.
Hey, Dan Dickerson, you are the man. You took the words right out of my mouth. That Tuesday game, that 1-0 game in the rain, I'm like, that's a game that they usually get blown out. They don't care about. But no, they come back and they win 1-0 at 12:30 in the morning. That impressed me after playing the Rays. Now you got to play them again. One of the best teams in baseball. But to be the bugaboo, on these teams, it shows. It shows that they're a couple of players away from making a wild card run.
Oh, I don't think there's any question that certainly is going to be the goal next year. I mean, it was interesting listening to Al Avila talk to a crowd at an event at the Fox last Sunday about how, and this is always something to remember, the injuries to Jake Rodgers, and let's hope we get good news on Matt Boyd, but they have to now start thinking about, okay, what's the future for Matt Boyd next year with the recurring elbow issues, the injury to Spencer Turnbull. Their shopping list has now changed and their priorities have changed a little bit, or at least there's been something added to the picture. We know that shortstop is priority number 1, but now it's a couple of starting pitchers, a catcher, a couple of bullpen arms, which you might be able to get for cheap, and then that guy at shortstop. So there's a lot, but those injuries have complicated the picture. But it's going to be one of the most fascinating off seasons in this franchise's, the last 10 years or so, because there's a lot on the plate. They're talking about it right now. They're trying to assess the guys they have and now put together the blueprint for how you go about it this offseason.
Dan, you mentioned the pitchers, and I was going to wait for this question, but since you mentioned the pitching, I will do that right now. I talked to Ben Verlander a couple of weeks ago, and Ben said that it has absolutely been discussed within the family about a return to Detroit for Justin Verlander. Oh. And I just, look, we don't want to pay. Jim Leland said it, you don't pay for nostalgia. But right. there is a connection, there is a need. Is that a player that you think the Tigers would make a significant run at, or maybe they're just a year or two away from going for a guy like Verlander?
It's a great question. So all the things that they're balancing are the things that I just talked about. I do think they're going to spend probably, or trade for, but probably spend big on that one spot at short. But now you've got to balance your dollars just a little more carefully, while remembering that in 2 or 3 years, you still want to be able to add pieces from the free agent market, from the Torkelsons, Greens, Mize Manning, Scoobles of the world are entering their prime. So that's always the long view for the general manager. So for Justin Verlander, what's the right price for a guy who's going to be 38 coming off Tommy John surgery? There aren't many precedents. I was looking up John Smoltz because he came back late in his career, but his Tommy John surgery was at 34. So that's a little bit bigger risk at 38. So does Justin Verlander throw for teams? I would think he would want to convince everybody that he's ready to go and healthy for 2022. That's step 1. Does he take a hometown discount and or an incentive-laden contract to hold down the price in year 1? And then if he performs, then great, he gets all these incentives. I'm not picturing that. But again, how badly does he want to come back, knowing that the Tigers are going to spend more this winter, but now they have a lot more things to spend money on with the pitching and catching equation. So I don't know what's the right number. What's the right number for Justin Verlander coming off Tommy John at 38? If he's back to being the old Justin, 2 years, $50 million. But I don't think you can just hand him that money knowing that he's coming off Tommy John, and you're still, there are so many unknowns, especially at 38 coming off Tommy John.
Hey, Dan, Braylon here. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Always get such great sight, man. I love the voice, man. I can close my eyes and I can picture being anywhere in Comerica Park, man. I just love it. Here's a good question. This year wasn't expecting much of the Detroit Lions, and here they are sitting at 70 wins with 16 games left, and you see how they've played well, and at the end, they've played even better. How do you keep that same focus and energy as next year people know they're better than what they thought they were this year, as people now aren't looking at them as so much of the underdog. Like, how does that happen? I've been there before in football where we were the Cleveland Browns, and here's the same old Browns, and we end up winning every game at home and went 10-6. But then next year we didn't have that same togetherness, that same unity, and that same drive, and we got ran up out the NFL that year. So how do you, and A.J. Hinch, how does he keep that team with this mindset but get better by players?
I think you've hit on it. It's the mindset that he has created, because I think your point's a very good one. Every year is different. Even if you've got the same core coming back, every year is different, even for the very good teams. But because of A.J. Hinch's approach about making sure your feet are where your head is, make sure your head is where your feet are. It always sounds, he always says it, hey, it's coach speak, I know. But you know what? He really makes them live it. So now that they've embraced this, they understand that there's something to play for in September when you're not going to the playoffs, and they play this way and hard every day. So I think that's step one. You created this certain mindset. Look at what he did in Houston. I was trying to find another example of a team winning 100 games and winning more the next year. He did that his last 2 years in Houston, from 103 to 107 wins. I mean, that to me tells me that team embraced his philosophy. They absolutely live that philosophy of it's about today, and yesterday has nothing to do with today, because you just don't see that. So I think that's a big part of it. I think Alavila's talked about, we have to make sure that it's hard to carry momentum from the end of one year to the start of the next. We have to make sure that we're adding pieces that will help keep that momentum going into 2022. But it's all been about the change in philosophy and the change in the day-to-day attitude and preparation that I think will help carry that into 2022. If there are more expectations, great. As Jim Leland always said, hey, it's good to have great expectations. That means you're good. You've got some talent there, right. Something to work with. The bad part is when you have expectations and you have no talent.
Hey Dan,
that's tough.
I got 3 quick questions for you here. I'm going to get them all in. You answer them in your order. Miguel Cabrera, 25 hits away. What shortstop are they going after next year? And who's winning the World Series this year?
I like it. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire, Baz.
Shortstop, I see Trevor Story's heated up. I mean, I think that's a name to keep an eye on. Everybody knows Carlos Correa. That's going to be a big dollar figure. I think you'll have to get creative with the contract and think about, opt-outs after X number of years to try to make it palatable. He's going to be 27, so you do a 6-year deal so that he can still get maybe one more big contract at 33. Do you structure it so that he can opt out after a couple of years? I mean, that's obviously going to be a name. But just remember, their spending priorities and how they're going to allocate their dollars have probably changed a little bit, and they're going to have to think about, a couple of starting pitchers. That doesn't come cheap. So those are all the factors at play here. But I would put Marcus Semien in that group as well, but he's going to be in the MVP discussion. I think Ohtani's going to win it, and Vlad's going to be right there. But Marcus Semien's having a great year. Right now, he's second in WAR behind Ohtani. So Marcus Semien's another name. Ohtani, Story, Correa. Miguel Cabrera, will he get to 3,000? No, I don't think he will this year. That's a lot of hits to get in probably. While there's 16 games left, he's not going to play in all of them. Let's say he plays in 13. Would I ever put it past him? No. What I think is really interesting, though, Tommy, he's 5 doubles away from 600.
Oh,
no.
There are 4 players in history with 500 home runs and 600 doubles.
Ooh.
It's a pretty good list. Bonds, Aaron, Pujols, Ortiz. That would be a heck of a thing if he did that in the same year. 500, 600 to join that select group of 4. Your third question was, who wins the World Series?
Yeah.
I want to say the Dodgers because everybody's handed them the West. They're the best team, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to pick the Dodgers.
Thank you.
I love San Francisco. I just love the fact that everybody's like, well, they lost 4 in a row. Here come the Dodgers. They're going to take over and finally take over first place. And the Giants just keep holding them off. I don't see how you can pick. To me, it's Giants and Tampa Bay. I think they are the 2 best teams right now going. I think I like Houston a lot, and I think they've got a lot of pieces. Tampa Bay just seems to maybe do a few more things a little bit better, and Kevin Cash has a knack for playing the matchup game, and he's got enough arms to do it. Look at pitching and defense always. Run prevention teams are the teams that you look at first and foremost, and those are two pretty good teams at doing that.
I'll never forget Cash taking out what's his name last year in the playoff. 7th inning, you take your best pitcher out. Blake Snell. I mean, I turn over. I still have nightmares. I can't get past
How much
it.
you lose on that game, Tommy?
Nothing.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I wanted the Rays to win. I don't want the Dodgers to win. Come on, Dan.
Oh, great. The great Dan Dickerson, the voice of Tigers baseball. Dan, we cannot thank you for your time enough here on Woodward Sports. And I will just do this over the air now. It would be a pleasure if once the season ended, if you could grab your buddy Dan Petrie there, come in studio, and we can chat. We can chat on Tigers baseball for a little while. All right.
On the spot.
All right. I love it. I'll get Dan to come down with me.
All right, that's
amazing.
great. Peaches, I'll call you later tonight, buddy. I'll see you guys. All right. The great Dan Dickerson giving us some time here on Woodward Sports. I just love that guy. He's just the absolute best.
He's pretty professional. Also, he's giving up his self, his time. You could just feel the energy. Good dude.
He's salt of the earth.
He's as good a person as he is a broadcaster. You know, I mean, it's just the greatest. And again, we love our Tigers, right? I mean, that's just the way it is here in Detroit. We'll react to a little bit of some Tigers talk and get to our one of our favorite segments. It's called Man Chill Out. We'll do that next.
Edwards Armani, the bottom line. Turn up.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
Or turn it off. What are we doing?
Something. Maybe.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Hey, gang, would love for you to start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry, and you can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. Again, I got a text message last week from a guy, and he said, you can go to Northwestern Tech, come out making $76,000. They had 3 open positions. I almost don't want to say the name of the company now because, 1, they don't advertise with us, but 2, it was last week. Maybe they filled those spots. But they had 3 open spots, and the guy, unprompted by me, because we were talking about a lack of people in the workforce, lack of supply, and he said, he's like, if you know anybody, he's like, send them to Northwestern Tech, go to school, and then you come out making $76,000 a year with us. It's just, I mean,
that's awesome.
It's just fantastic. Not everybody has to go to like a 4-year college. You know, you come out making $25,000-$30,000 a year.
I know.
You know, I mean, seriously. Guys, just a quick recap to the Tigers, though. You know, you mentioned Miguel Cabrera, 3,000 hits, 5 doubles away from 600 doubles. 4. Did he say
away?
I thought he said 5 hits. I thought he said 5 doubles away.
5 forwards.
Yeah, but nonetheless, 500 home runs, 600 doubles. Just, you don't even know what you're seeing. Excuse me.
You don't know what you're realizing until you know, a career like his, until you get to this point and you're leaving off things that no one has ever done. We're so focused on him getting the 3,000 hits, you know, and getting the 500th home run. He's sitting right there, almost about to get 600 doubles to be the 5th or 4th person to ever do it.
Yeah, sometimes, Braylon, you just don't even realize how great of a player you're witnessing
until it's over.
Until you appreciate it. That's why there's a saying: you don't understand what you have until it's gone. Right? That's why that's a cliche for a reason. Guys, it is time now for the segment we like to call Man Chill Out.
You think it's funny?
Chill, Daddy.
Pack your bags, get the hell off. Now, do you understand what you did?
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
All right, my name is first on the rundown, so we'll just go in the order of the rundown. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ryder Cup is happening as Fish is clapping for it.
I love it.
Just about a week and a half from now, September 24th at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. And one player is just like in a world of his own, and that player is Brooks Koepka.
Yes.
Brooks Koepka, in a lengthy interview with Golf Digest on Tuesday, lost his mind. I mean, he didn't lose his mind.
I thought you meant word of his own in terms of
yeah,
player.
I mean, he just clearly doesn't want to be at the Ryder Cup. He says, quote, "It's tough. There are times when I'm like, I won my match. I did my job. What do you want from me? I know how to take responsibility for the shots I hit every week. Now, somebody else hit a bad shot and left me in a bad spot. And I know this hole is a loss. That's new. And you have to change the way you think about things. You go from an individual sport all the time to a team sport 1 week a year. It's so far from my normal routine." That's it, end quote, from Brooks Koepka. Well, somebody who absolutely loves the Ryder Cup, Paul Lazinger, been involved in it as a player, a captain, a broadcaster for 30 years plus. He is unpleased,
just to say the least,
with Brooks Koepka. Here's his quote. "I'm not sure he loves the Ryder Cup that much. If he doesn't love it, he should relinquish his spot and get people there who do love it. Not everybody embraces it, but if you don't love it, if you're not sold out on it, then I think Brooks, especially being hurt, should consider whether or not he really wants to be there. And if you add the Bryson DeChambeau dynamic to that, that would be an even easier decision for him."
Oh, man. Get him, Azinger.
Just like Brooks, it's easy. Nobody forces you to play in the Ryder Cup. Nobody forces you at all. Yeah. It doesn't. You don't have to do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's not like you're giving up your tour card or anything like that. This is for the United States of America. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. There was one of 12 players that didn't show up to the practice the other day.
I wonder who that was.
Do you know who that was? Maz, do you have any ideas who that was?
I could guess. Is it Brooksy?
It is Brooksy. It is Brooksy.
Yeah.
Braley didn't show. One guy out of 12 didn't show up. So, Brooks Koepka, I say to you, my friend, man, chill out.
Enough has been said that how you read that from Azinger to, you know, when you talked about not wanting, if you don't want to be there, don't go. Don't show up. Relinquish your spot. And no one made you go. Like, the thing that bothers me about that is this is the fun time. Like, it's fun to see the Ryder. You know why I like watching the Ryder Cup? Not with the exception of us losing all the time, but you know why I like watching it? Is you see the energy and excitement between the players. Like, you don't get a chance to see the players kind of like let their hair back, shoot shots, mess around, flip their cats backwards, hit some shots, Phil doing trick shots and being a coach. Like, you don't really get a chance to see that dynamic like you do in other sports. Like, in a regular sport like football, I can see those guys having fun at some point through a regular game. Basketball, hockey, it's the same. Well, golf, you know, with the exception of a great hole, it's like, all right, it's a cheer, but you get the chance to see interaction from player to player, from teammate to teammate. It's fun. You mean to tell me you can't do that for once a year? Allegedly, you said you're going to beat Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus in terms of all-time majors won. So if you're that good, then you should be able to change your game for 1 week just to be able to do that. So if you're going to say that contradicts itself. So, man, shut up.
Chill out.
Hey, it's a team sport. It's really an individual sport. Now you get to go play on a team with your best players. Be buds for a week.
Right.
Have a great time.
Well, that's the thing.
Represent.
He ain't got no friends.
If you're not that guy, get the hell out.
He ain't got no friends.
See ya.
Nobody's asking you to.
Maz, will you watch?
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Brooksy.
Maz, will you watch the Ryder Cup?
I've been to a Ryder Cup at Oakland Hills. Would I watch it? If Tiger Woods is in it, sure, I'll watch it.
There you go. Oh, I guess it's on me.
It's on you.
I was so excited. I felt like I was a teammate.
Oh, man, you were.
I was a teammate, and yeah, man, chill out. It was like both of us picked the same topic, man. It was pretty good. We got to do that more often.
You know what? Feel free, Braylon.
We can start doing it. That was cool.
If you got to add
I'm on you. I got Fish dancing in the booth because Fish is mad. Fish loves the Ryder Cup.
Fish, you got anything to add to this? Because I think you're very passionate about this. Feel free to chime in.
Well, I'd love to, except I have no camera, although I guess I can turn it on now.
Well, we can hear you.
But you guys can't hear me. No, I just love the Ryder Cup. I think it's a great event, and I want more people to be excited about it.
I love the Ryder Cup.
Doesn't get enough American attention.
Oh, good job. That's a good point. It really, that's because we're always losing. America doesn't like
because there's other sports going on.
Love the Ryder Cup.
I think plus is we lose too. Like America tends to like to watch what we win. We like to watch what we're gonna win. I think you're last, Matt, so I'll go next. Here's an interesting story that I missed. It should have been 2 weeks ago, but here we are. We're back on track. All you have to do as the equipment manager is, print the monogram for your team and spell the name right. If your team's Michigan, you lock the monogram in there. It's Michigan. Simple as that. Well, Indiana, he didn't get the memo down there at Indiana and Bloomington. Check this out. This was week 1 opening up against Iowa, in which a game they got thrashed. Last time I spelled Indiana, it was INDIANA. It looks like we're missing an A. Look at that. Indiana. I'm trying to. Actually, no, it looks like it's an INA. INDI. Oh, this is a botch. This is a complete botch.
The Anna. Oh, the A is wrong, right? Where's the...
It should be 2 A's. It should be 2 A's. It should be 6. Were you the monogram? Were you the equipment manager?
Indiana. Okay, there it is.
It's 2 A's.
Yeah, I had to see it.
It's 2 A's.
2 A's.
Indiana.
Yes.
He missed the A. Look like he added I into. I just don't know how you
had
happens.
one job.
And this is the great thing about it though. Like the player, because it wasn't the whole team. I think it was 4 or 5 guys out of the whole team that had the name spelled wrong. I just wouldn't want it to be one of those guys whose name was spelled wrong, and the player is like getting ready, and you guys are banging shoulder pads, and the guy's like, hold on, Hey, I think they spelled it wrong. Like I wonder, like what guys got it spelled wrong? Like are they starters? Are they second string? Like that's tough, man. So 2. The equipment manager, because it's on you. This job falls on you. You had one job. Man, chill out.
Chill out, man.
Man, chill out.
Man, chill out.
Spell your school right.
Right.
That's
Come
all.
on,
And this is Indiana, by the way. This is an extremely good academic school.
Very good.
It'd be different if it was like Ole Miss. I'd be like, okay, it makes it makes sense. Man. Not Indiana, not IU. Maybe they should just change it from now on, just IU.
Right.
I don't think they can mess that up.
Hoosiers, even better.
Yeah, right.
But
Hoosiers.
then they might forget the I. And one of the I's in Hoosiers.
It might be Hosers.
Right.
Exactly.
That's true.
I mean, that happened before.
IU.
Hey, I got one for you guys. Keep it in the college football family. I know you guys love this. James Franklin. We've been talking about this guy, head coach of Penn State, rumored to be one of the guys that maybe go over and be the head coach at USC. So he's getting inundated with these questions. So he gets a question yesterday from Audrey Snyder, who's Penn State's beat writer. So he holds court. She asks him, what's the scoop with USC?
What's the scoop?
Are you going? Are you not? Listen to James Franklin. I'm going to take the music down because he's a little low. He's a soft talker. Mm-hmm. Let's give it a listen to James Franklin.
I have. But I've also found and tracked this over time that really no matter what you say, people aren't happy with. So I've decided that I'm going to handle this internally and talk to our team. It happens every single year. I'm not worried about distractions in the media and with the fans. I'm worried about my team. So I talked to my staff about it. I talked to the players about it, the leadership council in detail. But I think that's the best approach.
What do you tell recruits about it? Because obviously you've got a big weekend coming up, and it's a big to do.
Yeah, we'll address it with the recruits as well. So my conversations with the recruits and my conversations with my team, we'll have, and then I know you'll call every one of them to ask what I said.
I might.
I'll have conversations with them. But again, having conversations with the media and having conversations with anybody else, I'm concerned about my team and my future.
So what do you say?
He didn't say no, I'm not going to USC. That's the whole gist of it. So he didn't put a fire out. I think he started a bigger fire. He's got Auburn coming in to Beaver Stadium this weekend. Beautiful whiteout, national televised game.
It's a tough place to play.
And guess what they're going to talk about now? Hey, James Franklin, chill out. Man, chill out.
Man, chill out. Jimmy?
I think sometimes you get you try to do too much in terms of not answering a question directly, and you try to outsmart him. And what he did was
guy in the room.
Say it again, man. He tried to be the smartest guy, which he most times he is. James Franklin does a good job, and this time he outsmarted himself, and he left a lot of speculation. And I wonder what that meeting was with the team. Because if it wasn't along the lines of, hey, don't you guys worry about anything, I'm here, I'm blah, 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 then it's like, is Coach thinking about leaving and going to USC? And so
I love how he talked, though, Braylon, about the Leadership Council like it's Game of Thrones or something like that, you know?
Oh, they have one of those. You know what the Leadership Council is for? It's for the guys that weren't captain. I strike again.
Exactly.
Me not being captain strikes again. It's for the guys that weren't like captain like myself. I was on the Leadership Council. Right. I used to hate when they would call those meetings like, hey, so, we got to lead. And they're usually after the game. So we practice on Sundays. Leadership Council is like Sundays and Thursdays, Thursday nights. I'm like, hey, look, man, y'all didn't pick me captain. I'm not going to that meet. I'm going home.
Right.
Play some video games.
Get some Mr. Bells or something like that.
Some spots. Outback, man. Amazing Blue.
That is fantastic, man. So good.
Shout out to Zingerman. Oh, my God.
Let's just run through the Ann Arbor. What about Oriental Express? That's not there any longer, but OE was.
The prickly pear.
Oh, man.
That's Ryan's spot right there. Ryan loves prickly pear.
Oh, man, I love it. All right, guys, I'm way late for a break. 30 seconds. We'll be right back. Armani and Edwards.
We might not come back. Why not? It's the bottom line.
Opa! Introducing Papa Romano's new Greek pizza, a tasty blend of bold Greek flavors and Mediterranean toppings, including feta cheese and Greek dressing. Get a large Greek pizza for a limited time for $16.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Right back here on Woodward Sports, Armani and Edwards. Ryan Armani, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway. Want to bring in Wayne Larrivee now, the longtime voice of the Green Bay Packers. 22 years with the Pack. Seen a lot of wins against the Detroit Lions, Braylon.
He's seen a lot of frigid games, too.
Also an author, If These Walls Could Talk, stories from the Green Bay Packers sidelines, locker room, and press box. The great Wayne Larrivee joins us now. How you doing, Wayne?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Thanks so much for the time, Wayne. I'll tell you, and I don't know if you like when people say this or not, but, man, I grew up listening to you, whether it was the Chicago Bulls or Big Ten sports, whatever the case may be, the Packers. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
No, nice to be with you, but you're dating yourself.
How's it going, Wayne? How's it doing? Braylon Edwards here, just saying hello. My first NFL touchdown was at Lambeau in 2005, so it's always always
Braylon, I called that touchdown.
I know you did. That's why I brought it up. So yeah, it's always a good thing when I hear Lambeau Field. Takes me back.
Hey, Wade, let me ask you about the Packers. Obviously, such a big story this offseason, Aaron Rodgers and all of the offseason chatter that was happening there in Green Bay. And then, of course, week one was not the start that anybody wanted in Green Bay. No touchdowns, just 3 points blown out against the New Orleans Saints. Just where's the Packers' mindset? We speculate here, was that the exception or the rule to 2021, and what will we learn about the Packers this week on Monday night?
Well, it's interesting because I think Braylon could probably speak to this better than I, but every season is different and every team is different, and I don't care how many of the same familiar faces you have back in that locker room, the next season is different. It's a different way of doing things, and I think everybody at this stage of the game is going through that because we don't prepare teams the way we used to in the National Football League. We don't hit in practice. Most of the time, starters play a quarter, maybe two, maybe a half over the course of a whole preseason. And, there's not a whole lot of prep in terms of the physical aspect of the game. And football is a physical game. There's plenty of concentration and emphasis on the mental part of it, but the physical part is something that takes place once you kick it off at the start of the regular season. And most teams, I would say across the league, I'd say almost all the teams, are not really ready for that. So what does that mean? That means you don't really know what you have going into the season, and you start finding out the first week of the season. Believe me, the Packers are wondering. I guarantee you San Francisco wondering how Detroit rolled up almost 500 yards of offense and 31 first downs against that great defense. And certainly even Tampa Bay is wondering how a mediocre Dallas team, a very good offense but poor defensive team, hung in the game with the world champions and gave them all they could handle on opening night.
Yeah, all those teams are definitely worried about taking that next step. I actually, Ryan and I talked about the end of that Lions game, and it just seemed like the 49ers just took their foot off the pedal. Like they just immediately thought they were going to win the game, and then when it was time to compete to the end to actually seal the deal, they almost struggled. It's kind of like running a race where you ease up to think you're going to win, and someone comes up next to you and you can't restart your gears. With all that being said, watching that game against the Saints, it just looked like they were off all over the place. It just seemed like LaFleur's and Aaron were on the same page. The offensive line struggled. They let the defense of the Saints, who actually is good, led by Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, they always get to the quarterback. Trying to find it in the passing game, the defense, it just looked like a cluster, all the way around. How much of that is potentially the distraction of Aaron not being there all off season? And I know this is a question you've gotten, but we got to ask it. Him not being there, training camp coming at the last possible second, and how much of it is that, or is it more so like you say, just give us some time, and like Aaron said a couple years ago, RELAX?
I think we would have seen signs of this happening, if that was a case where Aaron and all that went on in the media, we would have seen signs of that within the team during training camp, but we saw none of that. It was a very good training camp. The performance in Jacksonville was a complete shock to all of us that have been around that football team. I'm talking about writers, broadcasters, everyone that had watched a significant amount of training camp practices. That was a shock. I think what happened to the offense in Jacksonville was they couldn't get on the field. They won the opening toss, deferred their decision. Tampa and New Orleans started controlling the football. The Packers had like 12. At one point, they had 12 plays, while the Saints had run like 28 plays in that first half. So it was really that kind of a thing. Offensively, they just never got into a rhythm, and by the time they actually got on the field for an extended period of time, they were already down 10-0, 17-0. Defensively is what is really concerning, because you're wondering, is that the defense the Packers have this year? And I don't think it is. I think it's a much improved defense over a year ago, but boy, it did not look like that against New Orleans. So that's the real question right there. And I think the game began to fall apart for the Packers on the defensive side of the football almost from the get-go.
Longtime radio voice of the Green Bay Packers, 22 years. Wayne Larrivee is with us now. And Wayne, you mentioned the defense there, and this could be one of those shootouts, right? Yeah. Because the Lions have allowed 31 points, at least 31 points a game in their last 7 football games that they've played. Green Bay's defense, while they gave up 5 touchdown passes to Jameis Winston, he didn't really throw for all that many yards. I think he had less than 200 yards. I'm not even sure how that happens, but we could be looking at a lot of points this week at Lambeau. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get a shootout necessarily. I mean, certainly if you look at the performances from last week, you would say as much. But you know what? Here's the concern the Packers have, is stopping the run. And I don't know if you guys subscribe to this, but I always believe, even in this day and age of throwing the football and multi-billion-dollar quarterbacks and all this passing game stuff, if you can't stop the run, you are not a good defense, okay? First, foremost, and forever. Stop the run, run the football. That is the number one key to winning championships in the National Football League. It still is today. But the concern I have is the way New Orleans ran against the Green Bay defense. Didn't expect that to happen. Thought the Packers would be much improved in that regard, and they gave up 172 yards rushing and 39 running attempts. That's how New Orleans controlled the football game. That's why Jameis Winston threw for less than 200 yards and 5 touchdown passes. He didn't have to throw the ball that much. That's a big concern. The thing that impressed me in watching the tape now on the Lions against San Francisco was how well they blocked for the running game and how outstanding I thought Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift were in taking advantage of the holes that were opened up. I thought that Lions running game was legit, and this is going to be a big concern for Green Bay Monday night.
And Wayne, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you next. Jamal Williams is a guy you are very familiar with there in Green Bay. Yeah. We absolutely love him here. I mean, his attitude, the way he plays, the way he practices is just something that the Lions, for lack of a better way to say it,
something about getting those former Packers players here in Detroit.
Haven't seen a lot of that lately over the last couple of years with Matt Patricia in that crew. But just what did the Packers lose in Jamal Williams, and what did the Lions gain in that player?
Well, they lost a good player. Okay, let's go there first. Okay, they lost a guy who can get you 4 yards a pop, never fumbles. Is an excellent receiver out of the backfield, can make plays in space, is a power runner between the tackles when you need a couple of tough yards, and most importantly, you can leave him on the field on third downs because he'll pick up the blitz, and he picks it up as well as any back in the league, period. Now, what the Packers really miss from Jamal Williams, not only that, they miss his personality. They miss the kind of impact he had on the chemistry of that locker room. And Matt LaFleur mentioned it today. He said, we miss Jamal Williams. We miss him. And he was talking about not the football player, but the guy in the locker room, the presence he had and the chemistry he gave that locker room. And it's tough. You can't keep everybody. And, it's unfortunate they're unable to keep Jamal, but they lost something when they lost that kid. There's no question about it. And they knew it when that whole thing went down.
Wayne Larrivee with us here on Woodward Sports. Tom Mazaway here. Wayne, thanks for coming on. Wanted to ask you, take me back to last year, the NFC Championship game, and Aaron Rodgers and the Pack marching down the field. First of all, at halftime, they let that long pass go to Scotty Miller, which to me, I thought really hurt them. But then they come back, and that they have a chance to take the lead, or at least tie the game, if I'm not mistaken, and they kick the field goal. Is that the main reason that Aaron Rodgers had seen enough with Matt LaFleur and this team, or was it something other than that?
No, it had nothing to do with that because Matt and Aaron are very tight. Now, Aaron obviously didn't agree with that decision to kick the field goal there, but understood they had 3 timeouts left plus the 2-minute warning, and they needed to get a stop, obviously. But nonetheless, that wasn't the crux of it. Is it something that kind of irritated Aaron? I'm sure it did. He was disappointed that he didn't get a chance one more time to throw a pass into the end zone. But you have to go back to the play before that 4th down call when Aaron had a chance to run the football and forced a pass into Devontae Adams that had no chance of being completed. Had Aaron kept the ball, and whether he would have scored or not is debatable. Maybe not, but he gets inside the 5-yard line, I guarantee you that. And at that point, Matt LaFleur goes for it. And by the way, that touchdown would have brought them within 2-point conversion. They still would have had to make the 2-point conversion to get the game tied. So they took the points where they could get them, and then they hoped that their defense could hold the Buccaneers, and they were unable to do so. And the penalty on Kevin King killed them in the end.
Talking to Wayne Larrivee. Wayne, I want to bring it back to this year if I could, and just a big picture look at the NFC North. Everybody lost last week, and it's still, to me, the Packers and everybody else in this division. I mean, the Lions, it's a rebuilding year once again. How many times have we seen that or said that? The Minnesota Vikings, I mean, good football team. The Chicago Bears, how many weeks before Justin Fields takes over? But this is the Packers and everybody else. How do the Packers view this year? And, is it Super Bowl or bust for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers this year?
Oh, yeah. They put all the chips into the center of the table, guys. Make no mistake about that. And they did it financially, okay? They restructured contracts to keep guys who were part of the 28 wins in the last 2 seasons of the 2 NFC title games that they played in. They kept those guys around. They restructured contracts. They're $42 million over the projected salary cap of next year. The value of their roster right now, and roster value is not salary cap, we're not talking about, but roster value, how much you're paying your team this year in dollars and cents. They're top 7 in the league, and they're top 7. So they have a high roster value this year. They are over the cap for next year, and what that means in financial talk is that they are all in, period. So that's what this is about for Green Bay, and that's part of what made that game against New Orleans so distressing.
Wayne, we can't thank you enough for your time here on Woodward
definitely.
Sports here in Detroit. Braylon and I very grateful that you joined us today, giving the perspective from the Packers, and we hope to catch up with you at some point along the way.
Thank you very much, guys. Enjoyed it. Have a good one.
You too.
Have a great game,
The great
Wayne.
Wayne Larrivee. Thank you so much. And that's really, something to think about moving forward. If you're a Lions fan too, Braylon, as Wayne mentioned, $42 million over the cap next year. This division
is in trouble.
Is up for grabs in the years moving forward without an Aaron Rodgers. Let's face it, Kirk Cousins is the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings is, to me, a non-factor. He's a non-factor kind of player that probably is not going to be able to win you a division or a Super Bowl anymore. I think Kirk Cousins is what he is. The Vikings are what they are, and I think this is a division up for grabs in the years to come. That's why this is such an important building season for the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. They went for it in Justin Fields. So this is going to be a Lions and Bears situation, I think, in the years to come.
I dislike Michigan State as well, but Kurt always puts up points. He always puts points on the board. He always puts yards on the field. Last year, they led the league. Actually, they broke the record for most touchdowns and points ever scored. And their yards, they were number one total yards. So they always put up yards. Where they struggle is the defense, getting rid of longtime DN Everson Griffin, who just wasn't able to do it anymore. I think that's where you're seeing them struggles on that D-line. They played Harrison Barnes in the offseason, so that'll be a good long-term commitment for them. With the Cowboys, they struggled at the secondary position in the O-line. Even though Montgomery had a good game rushing the ball, that O-line.
Chicago, you mean?
Chicago. I switched to Chicago. I was my bad. I did switch. Flip the switch. But going to Chicago, the offensive line, they've been struggling. Montgomery had a good game, but they've struggled as an offensive line, protecting Dalton, protecting Fields, and then protecting the rush game, and in the secondary. And the Lions, they're just rebuilding. They're new. They're a different start. So this division, it will be up for grabs moving forward in the future. I like where this division is. It's time for some new blood. It's time for some shaking of the dice, if you will.
Yeah, $42 million over the cap next year for the Green Bay Packers, and who knows what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Once he leaves this division, who takes over? Who is that quarterback in the NFC North? Is it Jared Goff? Is it some rookie that they draft next year for the Detroit Lions? But it's really, really fascinating to see. Going to take a break. There is an NFL football game tonight.
There is.
Hosted by football team. Against the Giants.
What football
they
team?
play the football team. Washington, New York. Talk about it next. Ermani and Edwards.
The bottom line, baby.
There you go.
I was waiting for it. The bottom line, baby.
Woodward Sports.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Go Greek with Papa Romano's. For a limited time only, Papa Romano's is introducing their new Greek pizza. And I'm telling you, like I tell you every day, it is good. I'm looking at it right now. Look at the feta, the pepperoni, the ham. Oh, man, the cut up red onions. Jesus Christ. I don't like olives, but they look good right there. And the tomatoes look fresh. It's a classic blend of bold Greek flavors like tasty Mediterranean topics that I just named and more. Get a large Greek pizza for $16.99. Opa.
Bray. Guys, got a cut for you. Jamal Williams at practice today. It's funny because Wayne Larrivee talked about what the Packers lost.
So he really missed
in
him.
Jamal Williams and what the Lions gained. And this is just kind of an indication of what the Lions have gained in Jamal Williams.
For 4 years. It ain't hard for them to say bye.
Yeah, no, I know. But, I don't know how it is for a player when you...
They let me. Y'all act like I left on my own. Golly, I didn't do it. Shoot, if I could have stayed, I could have stayed. If I can't, they didn't want me like that ex-girlfriend. Shoot, I gotta go. But fact that I got a rebound, it was the Lions. They picked me up. You know? Now they feed me good, take me to dinners. You know what I mean? Another man's trash is another man's treasure. So, but I'm just having fun, man. It's part of life. You know, you're gonna have those type of rejections. You're gonna get turned down. You're gonna get, people ain't gonna want you, but when you get your shot, an opportunity again from somebody who will give you your shot, you just gotta take that opportunity, be grateful for it, and make it count. So
getting the face.
Hey, man, he's talking about the Packers. They didn't sign me. They didn't want me. The Lions took me out to dinner, all this kind of stuff. Listen to these Lion cuts from these outside. Everything is outside now. So it's like listen to your radio with listen to your radio, AM dial with the windows down. Outside, that's how all the sounds sound. But Jamal Williams getting to it, saying, hey, Green Bay didn't want me. Detroit wanted me. Here I am.
I love it.
Yeah, that's sometimes that's the way individuals look at it, and that's not the case. Sometimes it just won't work from a standpoint of the moves they want to make, the money they want to clear up and save, the guys they want to bring in or keep. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. But it's always good to keep that attitude, to keep that mindset. They didn't want me, next man up. You know what? Because what happens is you give that more effort when you go to the next team. So I don't want to not be wanted again. That feeling of being unwanted, it's a real feeling. That feeling sucks. So what you do is you put that in your mental. I don't ever want to be unwanted again. I'm going to go out there and do everything I can. And if that's not enough, then you say, like he said, moving right along.
30-second break. We're going to get to Washington football team and the New York football Giants. We'll do that coming up next. Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports. It's the bottom line, baby.
Woodward Sports.
I yelled the second one.
Welcome to the Call Sam Chopper Shop, where you can win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time.
Watch as the Bad Pig Custom team turns this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
And when it's finished, we'll be donating the bike to Volunteers of America Michigan to raffle off in support of our vets.
A great cause to give back to those who've given so much.
Watch for Call Sam Chopper Shop episodes on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Hey guys, it's Maz for Legacy Partners Insurance. You know the deal. You get bombarded with all these insurance ads when you put your TV on. And guess what? None of them can do the same work that Legacy Partners can do for you. An independent agent right here locally in Michigan that knows the local insurance markets. They're independent, so they get lots of quotes. And they make the carriers work for you. They've been doing it for over 100 years, so you can trust their reputation and knowledge. Give them a call today. It's free. 586-209-4106, or go online to legacypartnersins.com/Woodward Sports. Fill out the information. They will get back in touch with you, and of course, you will start saving money. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars a year with Legacy Partners Insurance. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, we certainly appreciate it. Please let your friends know if you're listening on the app, if you're listening on the podcast app as well.
Everywhere. We appreciate you.
However you're consuming us, we certainly appreciate it, and we're very grateful to you.
It's much easier than people think. I think that's the hardest thing is people just want to know, how can we get to it? So many ways to watch it, and we'll make sure that we continue to do a good job to remind you guys of how to do it, the other ways, and do it if you're used to just one, and then so you can pass it. We're gonna do a 1, 2, 3 ABC type of deal one day. We're pulling this big board, and Ryan and I will go up there and give you like the easy way to do it. But appreciate you guys for tuning in daily.
No doubt about that. Braylon, the New York Giants tonight traveled to Washington to play football team, and it highlights one thing for me, and I want to talk about the running back situation here, if I could. Saquon Barkley may or may not be available. I don't believe we know whether he's available tonight or not.
No, they're using him sparingly right now. He wants to be out there, but they're watching his carries. They don't want him to blow that knee out. But have you seen his legs?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like tree trunks.
Now,
let him go.
He's dealing with some injuries, but it reminded me of taking running backs so high in the draft. And it rarely works out, Braylon.
Before you get in that, what typically happens with ACL injuries is when you have an ACL surgery, in the rehab process, you end up overworking whichever leg it was that you had your injury. For me, it was my right leg. I ended up overworking my right quad, my right calf, my right hamstring, and then it was a issue where it developed bigger and it was more muscular, and then it put less pressure on my left leg, and then I tore the meniscus in my left leg. So I think that's more so what they're trying to do is for Saquon Barkley, they're trying to make sure that he comes back, that he's operating at the best level that he can, that they're not rushing him back, so his body mass like balances out levels, and so that he doesn't re-injure himself towards the end of this season or early in next season or in training camp next off season. You don't want him to hurt himself again, because Saquon is a guy that you want forever. Like, you don't want Saquon to go anywhere. You want Saquon to be everything that you knew he could be coming out of Penn State and Happy Valley. So I think it's annoying for us, but at the same time, I think it is the right decision for Saquon Barkley, first of all, and for that New York Giants franchise moving forward to 2022, 23, and for so on.
The running back position, though, is intriguing to me because I think this is a big year for Daniel Jones for the Giants. Really, I mean, shows flashes.
Is he the guy?
You know, I think they have to make that determination on him. But Saquon Barkley was taken number 2 overall in the 2018 draft. And what have the Giants done since that time? And it just got me to thinking about all of these high-end running backs in the NFL over the last 10 years. And let me put it up for you. So
check it out.
Since 2011, okay, which is a 10-year time span.
Okay.
I believe the game has changed a little bit. Since 2011, there's been seven running backs drafted in the top 15 picks of the draft. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter, here is the records for all of those teams and all of those players. In 2018, Saquon Barkley, 15 and 34. 2017, there were 2 players taken. Leonard Fournette of the Jacksonville Jaguars, number 4 overall, 21 and 27 record. Christian McCaffrey, 8 overall, 29 and 36 record. Then you go down in 2016, Ezekiel Elliott, taken 4th overall. They do have a winning record, 46 and 35, 0 Super Bowl appearances, though. In 2015, Todd Gurley, taken 10th overall. Now, the Rams did get to a Super Bowl when he was involved. And again, this aids in my argument because
even that was iffy.
I would contend if they stay in St. Louis, they don't make the Super Bowl. Because once they move to L.A., everybody now wants to come to L.A.
Crazy thing is, he didn't even start that Super Bowl, I don't believe.
I don't know if
I don't think he
I
did.
don't remember that.
The backup running back did.
But either way, Todd Gurley taken 10th overall in 2015. They did make it to a Super Bowl, and the Rams had a 44 and 36 record while he was there. Melvin Gordon, 15th overall in 2015. San Diego and the LA Chargers, 35 and 45 while Melvin Gordon was there. And then Trent Richardson, taken number 3 overall by the Cleveland Browns in 2012. They had a 5 and 13 record. Now, Trent Richardson, they were 5 and 11 his first year. Started the second year 0 and 2 and traded them
to the Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So, does drafting a running back so high, is that good for your franchise? I just don't believe it is, and I think these numbers here are a pretty solid indication of what happens to your franchise when you take a running back in the top 15 picks of the draft. I want to get you in here, Braylon, but just some of the other first-round picks.
Go ahead.
Taken way late. Sony Michel at 31, David Wilson in 2012, 32, Doug Martin, 31, Mark Ingram, 28. If you go back to last year, picks 24 and 25 were running backs, Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. In 2020, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 32. I mean, some of those, 25 and beyond in the first round is one thing. But, I mean, when you're talking about changing the face of your franchise by taking a running back, first over, look, Barry Sanders, if you want to. Barry Sanders, the greatest running back of all time, won 1 playoff game. I just don't
But would you rather have not had him?
No, but what I'm saying is, defensive players, quarterbacks,
linemen.
The Packers took Mandarich. Would you rather have them have Mandarich?
No, but you're not going to hit every time, Maz. But what I'm saying is this game is not about running backs. Running backs do not change your franchise. Go back and think of how good Saquon Barkley was at Penn State. He was an incredible player.
And he still is, if you look at it.
But what has he done for the New York Giants? 15-34 since he's been.
Well, the problem is when you put the running back up there and you put the record next to him, like the running back and the record, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. Saquon's not the reason they're 15-34. The New York Giants have been that franchise for the past 12 years or so. He gets injured. His first year, he goes to the Pro Bowl. He gets injured his next year. So the injury's not on him. They get rid of Odell Beckham. That was supposed to be a big deal. You bring Eli. You have a guy that can be the leader, be the quarterback. There's a revamp period for Eli. You put some linemen around him. You draft Everett Ingram, who's always injured. You put Saquon around him. So I think injuries and typically who New York, and then you got rid of Odell Beckham, who was the guy who
even
get
in
paid.
his Pro Bowl season, they were 5-11.
Odell was, and that's the year Odell got hurt like game 2. I feel you. Todd Gurley, they made him better. Ezekiel made his team better. They were running through Ezekiel for his first 4 seasons. They were running through him. He led the league in rushing twice, 2 rushing titles. Got them to a bye in that 2000.
Yeah, they did win a playoff game.
So there is some merit if you're drafting the right guys in the right systems, which I guess that's anything in life, the right person, right place. But, to your overall argument, that's why they don't go after running backs high anymore.
Yeah.
You can get that guy like an Alvin Kamara. You can get him later on and have some success and mix him in there. You can't take him that high anymore. But sometimes there is you have to get one. Like Saquon Barkley, he's a can't miss player unless he get injured, and he's gotten injured, but he's a can't miss player. You can't pass up on him if you're the New York Giants in 2016-17.
Elijah Mitchell, 6th-round pick for the Niners. He ran through the Lions last week. He's their starting running back right now. Obviously, Raheem Mostert went down with an injury for 2 straight years. That's another story. Poor guy's getting death threats because he gets injured.
Where was Aaron Jones taken? Where was Jamal Williams taken?
I get it. I get it, but I still want my running back. I want my bell cow.
I understand, but if you got a defensive end out there that you're passing on, or a quarterback.
Okay, the Giants.
Put that.
Hold on. Giants took Saquon. Giants took Saquon.
Okay.
The Jets took Sam Darnold.
You're right.
The New York media roasted the Giants because they didn't take Sam Darnold.
You're right.
So you can miss on that too.
Hey, Alex, put that list back up there just for 2 seconds.
That's why those guys are fired now.
All right.
Though.
Yeah. So with that being said, the guys you have up on there, Todd Gurley was a can't miss, and he proved that. Christian McCaffrey so far has been a can't miss, and he's proved it. Saquon Barkley was a can't miss, and he's proving it minus injury. Everybody else on there has but this is helping you out. Like, I'm on your team. Everybody else on there has struggled. Trent Richardson struggled. Not even just injuries, he struggled. Melvin Gordon has struggled. Leonard
Looked
Fournette
good last week.
You said what?
He looked good last week.
Last week, but how long did it take him to get there? Leonard Fournette struggled. So to your point, I'm on the bandwagon with you. There's no need to draft running backs high. But unless they are can't miss, Christian McCaffrey was a can't miss. Todd Gurley was a can't miss. Zeke Elliott was a can't miss. And Saquon were a can't miss.
I think my point in bringing this all up is to say, while these players are really great players, look at the record. You don't build a team by taking a running back in the top 15 picks. You just don't build that way. I think it's a waste of a pick to take a running back that high when you could have had. Yes, you could have had Maz, of course, Sam Darnold, no good. But you could have had Denzel Ward. Well, nobody's taking a cornerback that high. Except the Lions.
Nowadays.
But you could have had Bradley Chubb. You could have had Josh Allen. Again, it's easy to say these names now, but that's why all these guys are fired.
Correct.
That's why the Jets have their guys are blown out.
Nowadays, the league has changed. Not nowadays. The league has changed because the person with the most rushing yards, I guarantee you, his team is not going to be better than the receiver with the highest receiving yards, his team. I guarantee you.
No doubt.
The receiver with the most yards, his team is going to be better than the running back with the most yards every year nowadays.
No doubt. I just think that the records speak for themselves. And when you look at this 2018 draft, who was taken after Saquon Barkley? Sam Darnold, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson, offensive guard for the Colts, Pro Bowler, Josh Allen, Pro Bowler. It's funny because you got Sam Darnold, and then you got Pro Bowler Denzel Ward, Pro Bowler Bradley Chubb, Pro Bowler Quentin Nelson, Pro Bowler Josh Allen. So
it's the haves and the have-nots on this teams too.
Yeah.
The teams that mess up are the teams that usually always mess up. The teams that know what they're doing, they're picking late in the draft.
Right.
They're getting the players, but the players are coming into a good situation. Poor Saquon Barkley went to a team that was all torn up in the New York Giants. Sam Darnold had no chance with Adam Gase in New York with the Jets. It all depends who takes you.
And it all depends on who takes you, who leads you, who develops you. And we got some video that we saw that Dan Campbell was mic'd up. This is great video of Dan Campbell mic'd up. Braylon, I want to get your take on it. We'll do that next.
Okay,
Armani and
let's
Edwards.
do it. On the bottom line, Woodward Sports.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Simple stuff. We like simple stuff, like our mics on, stuff like that. That's all we want. Like football 5 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, okay? And nothing says uncomplicated quite like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. All you got to do, walk in, sign in, sit down, and before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Get to Lady Jane's. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's so wicked awesome. You guys got to see this video. We talk about culture. We talk about Dan Campbell. We talk about running through a wall for the guy. Here is Dan Campbell, this courtesy of NFL Films.
Uh-oh.
They had a microphone and a camera attached to Dan Campbell. Here it is. Great stuff.
Let's go. Right, baby. That's a hell of a drive. Nice kick. Right, baby. Right, baby. Right, baby. Atta baby, atta baby. Keep rolling. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. There you go. Good. Atta baby. Atta baby. Here we go. Head up. Head up. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Yes. Let's go home. Atta baby. Atta baby. Atta baby. Last one. Last one. Atta baby. Yeah.
12 Attababies. 12 Attababies.
I love that guy.
He's just.
I love him.
And that was before. That was when he was mic'd up. That was before. That wasn't before. He got mic'd up when he was in the locker room first getting there, and then after, once he took the mic off. So those 12 Attababies, that number went up to about 23.
And again, goes back to a culture, right? That we think he's trying to create it. Head up, head up. I mean, you're trying to coach that stuff, right?
100%. Like that consistent energy, that consistent vibe. Like stuff is gonna happen. Things, even to the best teams, things happen. You get down on a player. Here's a bad play. Here's a bad loss. Here's a bad clip. Here's a bad sound bite. Things happen. But when you keep that positivity around and you get that a baby. Like when you keep that going. Like when those moments happen, like you're so used to hearing that Attababy, like it's like, all right, cool. You know what? We can get right back to it.
I absolutely love that stuff. And we'll see what happens this week against Green Bay. We got plenty of time to talk about Lions and Packers Monday Night Football this week. We also have a pregame show that we'd like you to come on out to.
I'm excited.
So from 6 to 8, we'll be at O'Toole's in Royal Oak. And I had to make sure that I was looking at Maz. I had to make sure that's where we're going to be.
So
we are going to be
Washington and 5th.
Yes, Washington and 5th. O'Toole's in Royal Oak, 6 to 8. Come on down, say hello.
With Jade and Riff.
It's just 101 WRIF.
I used to live at that building right there, man. That's how I know where it's at, man. It's not because I always go to O'Toole's, but the people at O'Toole's have always been great.
Right by the train.
I used to hate that train at night.
Guys, I wanted to get to this because I saw this online and I thought it was interesting. It was 8 teams who made the playoffs last season lost their week 1 matchups. And if you leave this up for a second, Alex, there is some concern for many teams on this list. Braylon, I'll let you get a crack at it first.
Yeah.
There is one team on here that I'm quite sure will make the playoffs. Outside of the Buffalo Bills, I'm not sure about any one of the 7, but you get the first crack.
All right, here we go. I think everybody on this list with the exception of Chicago, will make the
Leave
playoffs.
it up, Alex, would you, so people can see it?
I think everybody on this list makes the playoffs with the exception of Chicago Bears.
Everybody makes the playoffs?
Even Washington, the team?
Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I think with that division with the NFC East, Dallas has a lot of injuries.
Yes,
and
they
they're
do.
going to struggle. And their injuries, and it hurts my NFC pick. Their injuries aren't 1 week injuries. They're 7 week long injuries that they have. So Dallas is struggling. You look at the Giants just don't seem to be that team. We're going to get a chance to watch them against the Washington football team tonight. I don't think they're the team. The Eagles are the team right now in NFC East, but I like the Washington football team. So I think they make the playoffs. The Ravens, I think the Ravens will be fine. They have some injuries. Their left tackle comes back in a couple weeks. They get Rashad Bateman, the first round draft pick, wide receiver. They can slide protect to help Lamar Jackson out on some of those plays. Also, the RPO will help him get the running backs used to him. RPO, that way, a little run pass option to help it out. Also, he has a couple games like that every year. Well, not couple, but one game where 3 fumbles. He's had 3 of those in his career. He has a game or 2 like that every season, and they always tend to bounce back. So I'm not worried about the Ravens. Green Bay, RELAX is all I have to say about that.
I'm not sure about that, only because the Lions are in their division. Only because the division is so bad. That's the only reason I think I think there's real problems there. But go ahead.
I think Tennessee will be fine. I think they're trying to figure out Julio Jones, Coach Vrabel, and Julio trying to figure it out, trying to get on the same page. They never start out hot. If you look at them, they went to the AFC Championship 2 years ago. They were a wild card getting in. Last year, they were wild card getting in. So they never start off well. They don't start feeding the beast until October hits, and especially November, and that being Derrick Henry, who rushed for 2,000 yards last year. So I think everybody on here is safe. The Bills will be fine. Like, the Bills did everything right except make the plays. There were a lot of drops. Like, there wasn't a ton of interceptions and fumbles and miscues. There were just some drops and some bad throws. But I think the Bills are fine. Everybody on here is fine except the Chicago Bears. And even with the Colts, Frank Wright, I trust Frank Wright. I trust his process. The Bears are the only team I know won't be on there.
I'm with you. Bears are out. Everyone else makes it.
I got a bold prediction for you. And I'm out of the predicting business, but I think this one is going to come true. You ready for it?
The Browns aren't going to the playoffs.
Nope.
That's not it.
The Baltimore Ravens are going to miss the playoffs this year. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to miss the playoffs this year. They're
decimated.
They have the injuries at the running back positions, the questions about Lamar Jackson. By the way, Lamar Jackson, 30-5 against the National Football League, 0-3 against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. But he's a pretty darn good quarterback. I'm not sure
not facing Patrick Mahomes.
I'm not sure what you want out of Lamar Jackson. I mean, the dude. Look, not everybody can win the Super Bowl.
I'm glad you said that.
Not everybody can win the Super Bowl. He's a great player, but he cannot do it himself. And this. Well, we got to see if he can do it in the playoffs. Dude's 30-5 30-8, but 30-5 in the regular season.
Whose teams aren't named the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, enough with this Lamar Jackson. We got to find out about him. Watch the tape, okay? Put the tape on.
Tape speaks for itself.
But I will say that while I love Lamar Jackson, I think Baltimore's going to miss it. I think Pittsburgh and Cleveland going to fight for that division.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati is going to win a lot of games this year. I'm high on Cincinnati. They're going to beat the Bears this week, and they're going to be 2-0.
Yeah, no argument there.
You know, Indianapolis is a team that is worth reckoning. And then
is that Bear game in Cincy?
In Cincy.
So you think Justin Fields going back to Ohio?
Hold on, I got to make sure it's in Cincy.
All right.
But you've got the Titans and the Colts battling it out. The other team probably
No. It's in Chicago because I know they played the Rams.
You're
They went
right.
on the
It's
road,
in Chicago.
home, and then on the road.
In Chicago, but you've got the Colts and the Titans battling it out for the division, and whoever doesn't win that division will probably be vying for a wild card. I mean, that AFC is a very, very difficult trek to get to the playoffs. I think Baltimore misses this year. That's my bold prediction for 2021. Everybody else, most likely gets in. I think Washington gets in. I think football team makes it because of what you said about Dallas. I think Dallas is a really good football team, but
Washington has an awesome defense.
They are so
They're gonna make
injured.
it.
They are so injured, Dallas, and they've got COVID situations. They got injury situations. They got 2 defensive ends with 2 broken ankles or whatever they have. So I think Washington's the best team in that division. Philly, actually. Washington's out. I think Philly's making it this year.
I said Philly, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are fastly Baltimore Ravens are fastly becoming the Seattle Seahawks. And what I mean by that, they didn't get to the Super Bowl, they didn't win that. But you see how the Seahawks start declining every year, and it's like they went from they're going to be in the NFC Championship to they'll definitely get a spot, and it won't be a wild card spot. To the last couple of years, you're looking at Seattle, and it's a wild card spot. Well, that's what Baltimore has done. They went from being the team that was supposed to win the Super Bowl 2-3 years ago to last year still being a really good team. Now to this year, injuries, and now you're saying they're going to miss the playoffs. And that's why I understand what you're saying 100%, because I agree. They have taken steps back over the past couple of years. But one thing is still for certain, and that's why you got to rock with them. Lamar Jackson, former MVP, is still their quarterback.
We're going to get some videos of the day next, and I just want to get a thought on the Mannings on ESPN Monday Night Football.
And also, there's something that's going to happen during tonight's game at halftime that might be very interesting to
Drake
Lion
performing?
fans. No, I don't know if Drake's there tonight.
Armani and Edwards.
Woodward. It's the bottom line, baby.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey guys, it's Maz for Levels. Did you know Levels at Centerline is open? Not only that, tomorrow, live, Big D Energy is going to be at Levels in Centerline. Don't forget to check them out. They are going to be there, and use the Woodward Sports to get 10% off your buy there at Levels in Centerline. Big D Energy there, 11 to 1 tomorrow. Go to Levels right now and start leveling up.
That is what Matt was alluding to at halftime of tonight's game. You will find out who has Hard Knocks next.
There it is.
I am excited because I'm praying that it's the Detroit Lions. I think that would be a really good thing. I don't think it will be. Usually you hear some kind of chatter, I would think. Somebody would say something about something, and it's awful quiet.
It's secretive right now.
I just think for some reason, like, people don't like Detroit. Like the powers that be, whether it's HBO execs or whether it's other fans around or it's internet. Like, it's just always something with Detroit and Michigan State. It's always something to let me know there's no way we're getting it. But now on the other side, oh, man, we definitely should. Like with Dan Campbell, the energy that he provides, you're actually watching and living, breathing, rebuilding team that's starting from scratch, and you're seeing already some early success, at least on the offensive side of things. Nobody has a better story than the Lions to tell on HBO Hard Knocks.
I'm picking the Lions as the underdog to be picked tonight. What are you guys picking? I want to know what our YouTubers and people on Twitter are picking.
Well,
what
I don't
team
know.
will it be?
I mean, I don't know if it'll be the Lions or not, but I know 2 years ago they were one of the 2 or 3 teams that were up for it. Maybe Jacksonville,
Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence, Chicago.
Excellent point.
It cannot have a first-year head coach.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're able to pick that tonight, because what if they pick a team that will have a first-year head coach next year?
Well, if they pick Jacksonville or Detroit, they're not getting fired.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not getting fired.
I bet it's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I bet it's the Lions.
Has Jacksonville already been picked?
No.
So
well, the Cowboys have been on 3-4 times already.
Yeah, 3 times. Because the Cowboys were the very first team, and they've gone on 3 times since then. Two times since then.
All right, Maz. I will go. I will go Jags just because I want it to be the Lions. I hope it's the Lions, but Urban Meyer is Urban Meyer.
All right.
What about the Bills?
I don't think you can pick a playoff team from the year before.
Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
It's at the same time.
Maz, you got some videos of the day for us.
I do. I want to lead you guys off with a guy that I fell for on Twitter.
Oh, man.
He's a high school coach. His name is Coach Kurt Hines. He coaches the Coronado High School in San Diego, California. A player went into him in his office and quit.
What?
And the coach said, "I'm glad you quit." Check this out.
I just had a young man come in and quit, and I couldn't be happier. I truly could not be happier. This young man was struggling all season with making it to practice, with committing, never looked happy. Some stuff going on, but I couldn't be happier because he came in, things washed, shook my hand. I said, "Sit down for a minute." And he started to explain, his family's always been a football family. They've always loved it. My father and my brother. And I stopped him. I said, "Do you love it?" And he looked at me and he just breathed this deepest sigh of relief and said, "No." I said, "I'm proud of you." And I just saw his whole countenance change. He just smiled from ear to ear. He said, "You're doing the right thing. Football is not for everyone." Couldn't be happier. Coaches, support your players if they want to be great. And if they want to be great in something other than football, support them just the same. Take what's worth. Stay strong.
I just thought that was all you.
What's
Ryan.
better than that?
Yeah,
Nobody.
What is better than that?
That's great. Like that's goosebumps just listening to that because so often it's hard to let your family down. Like I myself, I chose football because my dad played football. Like I mean, it worked out for me, but I would have chose baseball. I would have chose baseball, or maybe not even football at all, maybe not even sports. But I think the fear of what your peers are, because he's got to go to school with these kids as he quit the team. So the fear of your peers, the fear of your family, and to go in there and then sit his coach down and have that kind of conversation and his coach be able to hear him breathe that sigh of deep relief. More power to that kid, man. Proud of you, guy. Proud of you. And the coach as well for the message. Proud of you guys.
If you want to follow him, it's Coach Kurt with a K, Hines. Coach Kurt Hines. The guy's got some great stuff up there, and they obviously love him.
All right, give me one more, Maz.
Let's go to Frank Caliendo. John Gruden, looking at his schedule this year.
Win.
Let's see what we have here. Season opener against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Win at Steelers. We're going to show Big Ben what time it is. Win. Dolph, win. Los Angeles Chargers, man. It's going to be electric. Win. Bye. Win. Kansas City. Loss. For them, man. Win. 17-0. One better than last year.
Oh, I love it.
That's better than
I love it.
Is he great?
The way
Loss.
he makes that face.
For them.
Oh, and one more before we got to go. The great Norm Macdonald passed away at 61 years old.
God rest
I
his
saw
soul.
him.
Man, I just watched the ESPYs thing the other day.
That's what I'm going to show you right now.
Oh, my God.
I saw him
it.
2 years, 2 times out of the last 3 years that he's come to
Norm
Detroit.
Macdonald, man.
Love him. He loved Detroit, by the way. Check this out at the ESPYs.
And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? What a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case... all bets are off. Just a word of advice.
Did you see Ken Griffey Jr.
He didn't know what to do.
Oh, God bless you, Norm. Thank you.
He pushed any envelope, and you got to respect
He
it.
was the best guest on a show that you could ever have
Last
on there.
Letterman guest.
The best.
Conan.
God bless.
Amen to that. Hey, guys, thanks so much for listening, watching, whatever you're doing, YouTube, Twitter, podcast, app. We certainly appreciate it. Please share it with your friends. Let them know we're here. Let them know where you find us. There's an alternative out there, and we're just trying to carve,
we care.
We're just
here.
trying to carve out our little area here in the sports landscape. Guys, thanks so much. Braylon, you're the man.
Nah, that's you, man.
We'll see you tomorrow.
That's you and Mass.
All right.
Sign us off here, Braylon. Sign us off with the gusto.
Ermani and Edwards, it's the bottom line on Woodward Sports. My man Maz.
Yo.
See you guys tomorrow.